How's it going, everybody? I'm Steve, and welcome back. So tonight I'm going to do something I've wanted to do for quite a while, and that's I went to rank the films from the Coen brothers. I know that when I did my top 15 favorite directors, I didn't include the Coen brothers because really they're like a directing team. You know, they're brothers that do like co-writing, and usually Joel Coen is like the main director, even though Ethan, he kind of directs the actors in between takes. But as far as action and cut, that's all Joel Coen pretty much. But there are actually like three films that I didn't include. One was the Netflix movie, the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, because I've only seen like maybe the first 10 minutes of that movie. And it was like I kind of liked it in some ways, but it was like 133 minutes, and I thought, well, when that gets released on physical media, I'll buy it then, and watch it then. But it actually never got. I don't, as far as I know, it's never gotten released on physical media. It was like in those like early days of Netflix where you didn't know if they were going to be released on physical media, and usually like Criterion is like one of the few labels that actually does kind of buy those the licensing for those Netflix movies and releases them. And actually there's another movie called The Tragedy of Macbeth. That one's actually just Joel Coen. Ethan Coen wasn't involved with that one. And actually Ethan has a movie called Drive-Away Dolls, and that one, Joel's not involved with. So I thought I'm just going to keep it the 17 films that I actually have in my collection. But the first one, this movie is actually from 2004, so it's 20 years ago. And the movie is The Lady Killers, and it's starring Tom Hanks. This movie I just don't remember a lot from. I remember not liking it very much. It's not rated very high, but Tom Hanks is really good in the movie, except he's got this weird like prosthetics with the teeth and everything. It's really strange the way he talks in the movie. It's very very southern. It just doesn't. Even Tom Hanks couldn't really save this movie, and the Coen brothers. It's kind of a miss for them, but if I buy it on Blu-ray, I may have to just give it another watch. All right, so at number 16 from 2003, I have Intolerable Cruelty. This movie's starring George Clooney and Catherine Zeta-Jones. This movie's kind of forgettable too. I don't remember much about this movie, so it's one that I just can't say that I really liked all that much. But it's another one that, like I said, I have it on DVD. If I get it on Blu-ray, I'll definitely give it another watch, and who knows, it may grow on me. Okay, so at number 15, I wish I could rank this one a lot higher because I love the cast and love the story and the way it looks, but it's just the movie doesn't work extremely well. But the movie is The Hudsucker Proxy. This one is actually co-written by Sam Raimi. And you can see Bruce Campbell's in this movie as well, and it has Tim Robbins and the great late Paul Newman. It has Jennifer Jason Leigh. This is one that, like I said, these last three movies that I have ranked low. If I watch them again on Blu-ray, who knows? They may grow on me a little bit more. It may kind of move up in the ranks. But it's just been so long since I've seen them, just because I just wasn't. They weren't movies that I felt like they were extremely rewatchable at the time. So at number 14 from 2016, this one's actually kind of rated pretty high, but it's the movie Hail Caesar. I think maybe some of the musical aspects from the movie kind of turned me off a little bit from it, but it's got a great cast, so you can't argue with this cast, in my opinion. Josh Brolin, George Clooney, Channing Tatum's in it. Channing Tatum's kind of growing on me as far as an actor. He's just. It's somebody I just didn't like for a long time in early years, and now he's kind of grown. And as far as the stuff that I've watched him in recent years, I think his acting has gotten better. So maybe this is one I need to rewatch because, like I said, it is rated pretty high. All right, so at number 13, this is one that actually is kind of growing on me now. I just watched it just recently and upgraded it to Blu-ray. But this is from 2001. It was just kind of one that's definitely overlooked at the time just because of the stuff that was happening in the world at the time. There's I think it was October of 2001 or something. But the movie is The Man Who Wasn't There. It's starring Billy Bob Thornton as Frances McDermott. It says she's Joel Coen's wife. But she's a great actor. It's not the reason why she's in the movie. She's because she's a big name that they can help sell box office tickets. But also has Tony Shalhoub. Has James Gandolfini from The Sopranos in it as well. It's just very dark, like black and white, kind of noir kind of films. Like I said, it is very dark. Just for the Coen brothers, they make dark movies, but this one is one of the darker movies they've made. All right, so number 12 from 2008, I have Burn After Reading. This is one that I think some people definitely don't like all that much. I think there's a lot of great humor in this movie. It's also dark, but also very funny. It has a George Clooney, it has Francis McDormand again, it has a John Malkovich is really great in this movie. Brad Pitt, just some of the stuff that happens in it is very very shocking, especially if you see, I don't want to give it away, but there's a scene in this movie that's extremely shocking. But like I said, I think it's extremely funny. Whatever that device, just to kind of spoil a little bit, that little device that George Clooney's making in his basement. When they reveal that later on in the film, it's just like, oh my God, really? That's what he was making. But to me, I just can't help but to laugh at this film. Okay, so at number 11, this one I wish I can kind of rank it a little bit higher because it's from 1990. It's in the Criterion Collection. It's spy number 1112, and the movie is Miller's Crossing. This one's really interesting. It's a very early Coen brothers. I think it's like their third film, and it's starring Gabriel Byrne as Marcia Gay Harden, John Turturro. Like I said, this one's actually really dark too, and there's some humor in it as well. Just I think a lot of people I think are kind of turned off by the darkness in this movie just because it's so bleak in a lot of ways in a lot of areas. But to me, I love it. Like I said, I wish I could have it kind of ranked a little bit higher. But my top 10 I think is pretty strong. So this one is an interesting film. All right, so number 10, this one's actually from 1991. This one's also a very dark movie. It's the first time that Roger Deakins ever worked with the Coen brothers, but the movie is Barton Fink. John Turturro, John Goodman, really great. The two Johns, really great in this movie. Like I said, extremely dark. The ending is a very, very dark, but there's a lot of humor in these movies. It's like the dark comedies basically. That's a lot. The Coen brothers are definitely drawn to those kind of movies, and I just love what they did this one. And this is also another one that's really kind of grown on me over the years. Okay, so at number 9, this is actually from 2009, and this is one I just recently upgraded to Blu-ray. I found it used at the Exchange. It's one that I had watched it in the theater years ago. I watched it again when I had it on DVD. Really hadn't watched it too much since then, but this is another one that's kind of growing on me now too because the story is so odd, but the movie is A Serious Man. I think this movie, the story is really strange in this movie because I'm not Jewish, so I don't know exactly some of the background in this movie. And the Coen brothers grew up in Minnesota, and it's kind of loosely based on sort of their upbringing at the time. But the story is so strange because it starts off with this story that has nothing to do with the rest of the film. So much of it is kind of left to interpretation. There's some great scenes in this movie, especially if you see the sunbathing scene in the movie. Very, very memorable. All right, so at number 8, this one's from the year 2000. This is one that I think it's kind of polarizing in some ways, especially if you're not a fan of like musicals. And the movie is Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? This one's very different. Starring George Clooney and John Turturro, Tim Blake Nelson, Charles Durning, John Goodman's really great in the movie. But this movie is really strange. It's like the scenes don't really fit together extremely well in this movie. It has a great soundtrack. Just very different for the Coen brothers. They've never done really anything quite like this movie since. And like I said, it's going to be polarizing, especially if you don't like the music in the movie. But like I said, the pacing's really odd in the movie. It just the scenes don't really mesh extremely well. All right, so number 7, this one's actually in the Criterion Collection from 2013. And it's by number 794. This is one I saw in the theater, and it's one that keeps growing on me. The movie is Inside Llewyn Davis. Very interesting about the kind of the folk era in New York in the early '60s. Oscar Isaac is really great in the movie. As Carey Mulligan's really good. John Goodman's in this one too. So John Goodman's been in a lot of Coen Brothers movies. He's worked with them a ton. But like I said, this movie has definitely grown on me over the years. It's one that I thought was really slow. There's still like a scene in this movie that kind of drags a little bit, kind of somewhere in the middle. All right, so number 6, this one's actually the debut film from the Coen Brothers from 1984. It's in the Criterion Collection under spy number 834. But the movie is Blood Simple. And this one got a Criterion a 4K upgrade recently. And I've always loved this movie. It's a very, very basic, low budget kind of film, but I think the Coen brothers kind of showed what they were really capable of from the very first film. It's starring John Getz. Frances McDormand's really good in this one. She was really young in this movie. I think this may be sometime around the time that she met Joel Coen, maybe on this film, possibly. But John it has Dan Hedaya, If you've ever seen like Cheers and Clueless, he played the dad in Clueless and that kind of thing. And it has the late M. Emmett Walsh in the movie too. He's really great in the movie. He's kind of like the villain character, and it's just a very dark. Like I said, it's got some humor in it, but it's also another really dark Coen Brothers film. It's just like somehow that they can pull dark comedies and dark storylines and kind of make you like them in some ways. I'm not real sure how they do that, but that's definitely a gift that they have as a writing team. All right, so number 5 from 2010, I had True Grit. This is a remake, from a John Wayne film. I think the Coen Brothers did a good job. You can say there's a film maybe a few years earlier that was sort of a Western kind of film, sort of, but this one's definitely more of back in that kind of era, a period movie. Starring in Jeff Bridges as Matt Damon's really good. Josh Brolin, Haley Steinfeld. What a great job for a young actress to play this kind of role, and I don't think she's ever done anything quite this challenging since. Maybe the film roles, just because she's young, she gets a lot of film roles that are definitely for kind of her age group instead of playing something that's off type in some ways. And this is like one of her best performances. I think she got like an Oscar nomination for this one. All right, so at number 4, this is a classic Coen Brothers from 1987. The movie is Raising Arizona. This one's a comedy. It has a lot of dark stuff in the movie. Nicolas Cage, Holly Hunter, John Goodman's really great in this movie. Just again, this is like the first time they ever worked with John Goodman, and I thought he was fantastic in this movie. And like I said, it makes you laugh, and it's also dark at the same time. And this one's probably maybe the silliest Coen Brothers film, even more than the ones I have in my top 2 here. But I love it. I wish that they would give like a 4K release or a better like Blu-ray release with special features. But I've heard that they didn't get along with Nicolas Cage at the time. All right, so number 3, this one actually just got a Criterion announcement for the 4K release. It's from 2007. It's going to be Spine Number 1243 when it gets released in December. The movie is No Country for Old Men. This one's a great movie, starring Tommy Lee Jones, Javier Bardem, great villain, one of the best villains of all time. It has Josh Brolin's really great in this movie too. But yeah, the 4K release, I'm definitely going to upgrade this one because I obviously have it on Blu-ray now. It's going to be the 4K Blu-ray combo, so hopefully it has better picture quality and some extra special features on it. So, but yeah, I'm definitely going to upgrade this one, and probably in February when the Criterion the flash sale happens in February. All right, so at number 2 for 1998, I had The Big Lebowski. And obviously, my top 2 have to be their really most popular films. I think a lot of humor in this movie. I think it's very quotable. To me, it's very rewatchable as well. Jeff Bridges, John Goodman again, as Julianne Moore, Steve Buscemi, John Turturro. the character he plays in the movie is really great. And I love the lines in this movie. Some of the great stuff in here. It's also kind of dark in some ways, in some areas, but it'll make you laugh the whole time. Jeff Bridges definitely makes this one really special. All right, so at number 1 for 1996, I had to put this number 1. I think it's their best film in my opinion. The movie is Fargo. This one I recently upgraded from Blu-ray to the 4K and Blu-ray combo. This one's a great movie. It's from Shot Select. Thought it did a great job. It's never looked quite this good before, and to me, it's a very special movie. Frances McDermott's really great in this. William H. Macy, really good. Steve Buscemi's really good in the movie. Like I said, this is probably the darkest Coen brother as far as a movie that you can laugh the most at, and while it's really dark at the same time. It's one of those, I think, special kind of combinations that they did. All right, everybody. So I really appreciate you watching my video. Please, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. Please put a thumbs up on this video. It definitely helps with the YouTube algorithm. And everybody have a great one. Thank you. I really appreciate it.